Hi, everyone. My name is Dominic DiMaria. I'm an agent with Porcupine Real Estate, and we are here today joined by Katie and Hillary from Sweeney Title Services. Hello, ladies.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. We are going to do another video in our Title FAQs series here. And today we're going to talk about the top things that will hold up a closing. So, what are the most common things that you see that hold up closings?
Lately, I would say that make sure that you have your funds that you have to bring to closing fully available before your closing date. A lot of times when people are moving from out of state, they don't realize that they really need to transfer their funds to a local bank as soon as possible if they plan on bringing them to the closing table, because a lot of times you can't initiate a wire transfer or get a bank certified check unless you enter a branch. And so if your branch is 10 states away, obviously you're not going to be going in there. And a lot of them have a limit of how much you can send to another bank, which is like 10 grand. So if you have to bring 30, then it does hold up the closing to figure out how to get that money to a local bank in order to bring it to your closing or have it wired.
And what else?
I would say something that I see not often, but it happens, is you have to bring the original death certificate. We can't take a copy. We need the originals to record. So, and those originals will be mailed back to you, but we'll give you a copy in the meantime, but we do need the originals.
And that goes for any document, right? You need an original.
Only documents that need to be recorded. So if our office calls you and tells you to bring the original, we mean it has to be the original. It can't be a copy because the Registry of Deeds will not record photocopies. They can only record original documents.
That's good to know. Good to know. And then the last thing I will say that I have had experience with is a final walkthrough. Have you seen that as well come up?
Yes, absolutely. There's been I would say it probably happens like 10 times a year that I get to my closing and everybody is upset. And the reason why is because the seller hasn't actually moved out of the property at all yet. They are probably someone who really needed to hire a moving company, which they can be amazing. They pack up all your stuff for you and way better than you could even do it yourself a lot of times. And so it will delay it depending on how much stuff they still have there, whether it's going to close tomorrow or later in the day or in 2 weeks, depending on how much stuff is in there. So the final walkthrough definitely can cause a wrench if they haven't moved out yet or there's an issue.
I've had that happen to me several times where you get to a final walkthrough and it's hours before the closing and there's still a bunch of stuff in the house and you're like, well, there's not really any time to do anything about it. So now we just have to figure out what the next steps are. So whenever I write a contract, I generally put in 48 hours for the final 48 hours before closing for the final walkthrough, just to give you some time so that if something is not correct, you still have some time to actually correct things.
That's a great idea.
That's very smart.
And so for what else would you say is important to keep in mind for the closing to keep things running smoothly?
They need to bring a current driver's license or passport, so any government issued ID that is not expired.
Yes.
And worst case scenario, what happens if somebody forgets their license? Hopefully
they got to go get it. They got to go get it. So a lot of times people have to go run home and get that driver's license, or if someone's home that has access to it, they can bring it to the closing for them, but it's never convenient. So don't forget your driver's license. And on moving day, people often can't find a lot of stuff because it's all over the place. So don't forget your wallet with your driver's license in it.
And another thing along those same lines, it's not a bad idea to bring your checkbook with you as well, just in case there's any incidental fees or anything like that have to be covered.
Absolutely.
Anything else, ladies, or does that pretty much sum it up?
I think those are all the major things.
Yeah, I think it's
great. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for joining me today. And if Hillary and Katie, if they have any other questions as far as what would hold up a closing, how can they get a hold of you guys?
Shoot us an email, katie@sweeneytitle.com and hillary@sweeneytitle.com.
Great. And again, my name is Dominic. Thanks again for joining us for another video in our Title FAQ series.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.